right,
as an actual file because it gets cooked through this whole thing.
Yep.
You know, like none of these systems are perfect. They all need a little extra help every now and then, just like how we all do. Go ahead and press the button. Good press, Steve. Solid punch of the button.
Jeez. Sorry, everybody.
Everyone, I'm Ryan, and I'm taller than Steve.
You are taller than Steve, and I'm Steve. That's how I know you're taller than me. And this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. Oh, did you just
now I'm shorter?
Did you just mean in your seat?
Yeah,
because you're also actually taller than me.
How tall are you, Steve?
I am 6'1" and 3/4 or some crap like that.
I think you should measure again, because I measured myself recently, and that's how tall I was.
I don't know, man. That was my. Oh, you're saying I shrunk since the
I think maybe both of us
hided myself.
Both of us might have shrunk.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I was saying I was 6'3" for a while, but I was like reluctant about it because I knew it was like in the 6'2s somewhere. Apparently I'm in the 6'1s now, but like close enough to 6'2.
Is this like a doctor measurement or like a tape measurement?
This is I put myself up against the wall and I used a square with my skull against and I was barefoot. I was barefoot and I didn't go on my tippy toes or anything like that. I trust my method.
All right.
I trust my method is what I'm saying. Okay. So anyways, later,
maybe you've shrunk, but I've been going to the chiropractor. So maybe I'm taller than you.
You might be taller than me now. This is riveting stuff.
We'll find out at NAMM.
Later,
we'll go back to back at NAMM and someone will decide for us.
We could measure you in the hallway over here where I measure my kids. So later in the episode, things are going to get really juicy, really spicy. We're going to talk about Temu and whether or not they're a good business to work with and whether I should take more money from them in the future. But first, an ad from our good buddy, constant winner of the Adventures Club, Dave Santander.
This is a well-equipped, luthier put-together partscaster telly from heaven here for you.
It's from heaven?
She's got a photo flame MDF body from a company called Parksons and a refinish to match fender neck. What the fuck? Huh? Okay. We put a new hand-shaped bone nut on her and sanded aged the hardware, bridge control plate, neck plate, and input jack plate. They were gold, which generally I don't like. They're still tinged gold though, and that's why we used a gold string tree and gold nuts to provide contrast to the chrome tuners. Also, speaking of contrast, we put Graphtec saddles on that aged/polished bridge. Working with the saddles and nut are those chrome fender locking tuners. Why not also gold? Not pictured or strap locks, but they're included. The neck pickup is a Mexican Fender wide range that Tom Brantley rewound to Cuneife specs, so it's freaking fantastic. As is the noise-free Lindy Fralin split blade bridge pickup. So 2 USA wound high-end uniquely paired pickups. This is a really sweet looking and sounding guitar compared to new or used imports. This axe tramples them in price and especially in components and playability. She's got a pro setup with D'Addario 10 to 46 strings. Be better if they were string joys. Plays fantastic 10-inch radius fretboards, and she weighs 8.2 pounds despite the weight relief holes we put in her. See photos. Finally, whilst we were taking care of this beauty, a hockey game broke out, and thus the stitches. What stitches? See photos. I couldn't help myself. He. She shipped in a hard shell case for a few bucks less. A padded gig bag. Listed shipping costs are just guesses. Thanks for looking. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Jammin' Josie Wales Kane.
Steve refused to look at the photo of the stitches. Like he wants to read the description before anything else enters his brain.
Are the stitches on the back?
No. You'll see them. There they are. I wish they were real stitches. This marker. Like there's a crack around the binding and he did marker or a little bit of paint or something like that to make it look like stitches.
Okay, hold on. What I still have not... So this is a Belmar Resto Mod guitar. The brand is Belmar.
Well, that's like the modifier or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing looks like it fits together quite right. Like look at the gap in between the control plate and the pick guard. The gap in between the bridge and the pick guard, that's pretty normal. You see that all the time.
This is $700.
Just seeing plenty of orange peel on the top of the guitar here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the photo flame thing, it looks fun, but yeah, orange peel galore going on. It's a parts bucket. Like, it is full of parts to the point where, why sell it? Just take it apart. You liked all these parts. Take it apart and keep the parts, and offload the body and the neck if you don't want them anymore. Everything is so modified. Did you see the weight relief yet?
Yes.
Jeez. It's like, how can you even sell this and with a straight face,
How do you put holes that big in the bottom of a Telecaster and still have it weigh over 8 pounds? Tom Brantley is a guy. Apparently he does the pickups for Geddy Lee.
Sure.
So that's one thing, because he name drops Tom Brantley, like we should know who he is.
Right.
And
he's a known quantity.
He is a real person.
He exists. You can look him up and learn things about him. But man, there's just so much going on here. This is such a personality piece. It's a hard sell. Like, I think he's trying to be optimistic with the $695 plus $75 shipping. That's a hard sell, because you can get yourself into some really good axes for $700. And yeah, there's some specs going on here. Like the pickups sound cool. I like the sound of what he's describing with the pickups. I think those sound neat. Sell the pickups. Take them out, part them.
Yeah. Sell
the pickups individually. Try to match as much of this hardware and put it in a Ziploc freezer bag and put it on eBay. There's the body's really rough.
The body, so I'm looking up because it says it's from a company called Parksons. Parksons is a Korean brand that's part of apparently the Paxville Corporation. Why is this important? Because there's one word. I would not be looking this up. I would not care as much otherwise, but there is one word. Oh my gosh, there's so much information.
Get to it, Steve. There's one
photo
word.
Flame, which is fine. We both know what that is. We all know what that is, right? It's a picture of a flame. MDF body.
Ooh. That's why that weight relief looks so weird.
From looking around the bottom, the area around the jack plate, there's multiple cracks on the side of this body.
That's not a wood crack. That's just like it's going to crumble crack.
Yeah. Like the entire bottom of the guitar, which is this angle with the holes, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 visible cracks.
That's why it's 8 pounds, is because it's all glue.
Plus that top where the stitches are, like there's a crack there. It's weird.
Why do I have the suspicion that this fender neck, because I know it's a refinished fender neck.
Yeah.
Why do I have the suspicion of it coming off a very specific fender, coming off of one of those like early 2000s, like hyper modern versions of a Telecaster? You know what I mean? The ones that had like the slightly carved top to them.
I know what you are saying.
I don't know why I'm getting that impression from it. Like, it's a Telecaster neck.
And what if I told you, I think that's just a Squire neck.
You think it's just Squire? You don't think they just clear coated over the existing Fender logo with a bunch of rattle can stuff? Yeah, man, that's a rough burst. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just got a weird vibe from it that made me think it was that specific model of Fender.
There's no.
The more I look,
why are my words so broken tonight, man?
Because it's late at night. We record the podcast late at night, and we're always fried.
There's no. Telecaster.
Everyone tell Steve to quit his high-paying professional job that he went to school for, so that he can podcast with me in the middle of the day on a Wednesday instead of at 8 o'clock at night.
There's a guy. Oh yeah, all of those high-performance Telenecks were bound too, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think this is a Squire neck because there's no truss thing.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I was thinking maybe it was one of the like Koa or Light Ash necks, but those are all Bird's Eye. There's a guy who on both this
thing's a parts bucket. Like it's like he put a bunch of cool parts on it, or cool.
Yeah,
he put a bunch of nice parts on there that he wanted, but none of them are like worth paying the price for
he
this.
did some work that made it kind of interesting. It's $650. These 2 pickups in there are maybe worth like $300.
He should part them out $150 each.
Just there. There's some good hardware on it, but at the end of the day, what this looks like to me is a Squire neck on Parkinson's is a Korean import brand.
It's MDF.
Makes like a sub $200.
It's an IKEA
guitar.
shelf.
Yeah.
It's an IKEA shelf. Like, and look, he's got a pile of other guitars behind it. Some of them don't have tuners. Just move the tuners over to your next project.
Mm-hmm.
Move the hardware to something else. Like it looks good from 10 feet away, sort of thing. But once you start getting up on the paint job and on the headstock, and when you see those gaping holes in the butt end of this thing, I mean, some people might get excited about those gaping holes, but I'm not excited about them. It just looks like this thing's going to fall apart. Nothing fits together quite right. All this metal stuff has been scraped up and
The
customized. No, thank you. No, thank you.
The
stitch thing is like, I do wish that he had done real stitches, like some twine or some fishing line through there to do some real fishes, to do some real stitches to hold that thing together. I think that would have been funny instead of doing the paint thing.
There is a link, belmarguitar.com, or rather there's a website. It kind of just looks like a guy who's running a kind of a refurb. He does build some of his own tops. It looks like some kind of, I don't know if this is the picture. Oh, what in the world? Oh, he's going to put a top onto an existing body, which might be what he did here.
You think he photo flamed
like
it
maybe
himself?
He photo flamed it himself onto this other body.
There's a
this
chance
guitar's on here.
There's a chance he's going to watch this because, the link will get shared around and his buddies will see it, or maybe he already watches the show or whatever. Like, I'm sorry that we trashed on your thing, but also you take it as free consulting. Like, this one's not quite there.
Yeah. I mean, it might play great. I don't know. There's just some things about it that make me kind of wonder what kind of real.
It looks like a home project.
Quality it could be.
It looks like something someone did for themselves. And the price just,
and
it's not worth it to sell that thing as it is. Sell the parts.
And I think conceptually, maybe what this guy's doing is he's finding stuff that is like broken on OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace, and he's giving it a fresh life, and that's cool. Like
that is cool.
It's kind of like upcycling guitars.
It's cool that these parts aren't just immediately being thrown in a Christmas incinerator.
But I at least this particular combo is kind of all over the map, and
it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like every part of this is important to the point where none of it is important anymore. You know
what? I take it back. I don't think he photo flamed this himself. I think now that I see what he does, there's actually 4 people who do this. So they 4 luthiers, they say, as they describe themselves. They call out that they are not techs. They are luthiers. So I think they bought a Parkinson's Telecaster or a Parkinson's body. Maybe the neck was broken. And they matched it to a Fender, or like I said, I think this is a Squire neck.
Right.
I could be wrong.
You could be wrong.
But I could be right.
Mm-hmm. Just as the Public Image Limited song says. You could be wrong. You could be right.
Oh, that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's next, Steve?
Song. What's next is we have a whole bunch of people who came in over the holidays to support us on Patreon.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, just in time. Actually, I think I got most of these processed, but not every. I sent out a package yesterday as of recording this yesterday. So at least some of these people will be getting packages from the Patreon soon. They're stickers and picks, and for the $10 level, some straps, though we're almost out of all those straps we got from Premier Guitar. But at the $5 level, we got Nick Call, Dave Warrenfeltz, BJ Pierce, and Rob, parentheses, Scary Mountain Wizard. And at the $10 level, Tim Cornfield, who he's been actually supporting us for a very long time.
Wow.
He dropped off for a while, and now he's back.
Welcome back, Tim.
Brian Spears, Stian Larson, and David Holzer. So thanks, everyone. If you
Got
want
a lot of new people.
If you want to support the production of this show, head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumpcast, whether it's $1, $5, $10, whatever amount you want to give. It just helps us make this show. It pays for
we actually
food
have
on our recording nights.
major bills coming up.
We do have some major bills coming up.
Every little bit really, really does help this time of year because we're about to go to NAMM.
Yeah.
We're paying for what, 4 days of Airbnb sharing?
Thursday night for me, because you might be going up for me.
But we're just talking about what we're paying for the podcast. Because I'm going to pay for
okay.
I'm going to go up and use the Airbnb possibly for Disney purposes with the family.
Yeah. So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. So
4 nights. Yeah, we got to cover 4 nights of Airbnb, and we're gonna be taking Ubers around and stuff like that, and having meals and who knows what. There's a very real possibility we're gonna go burn through like $1,500 at NAMM.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like easy. So the Patreon really, really, really helps this time of year. So huge thanks to everyone who's stuck around for that. And in the future, when the funds get back up, I'm going to get back to covering some awful cheap stuff off of the internet for some Patreon funded videos. So keep an eye out for that as well. That was growing in popularity until we ran out of funds recently.
This episode is also brought to you by Chase Bliss.
Oh, hey, a sponsorship. Thank you, Chase Bliss.
Throw that out. Hold on. We throw that out there like that you're going to do some cheap stuff, but potentially if there was enough support for it, not support monetarily, but like if the Patreon said like, instead of saying like, hey, instead of doing a cheap pedal a month or whatever.
Yeah. What's the real deal with Murphy Lab stuff?
You pool a few, for Murphy Lab stuff, you pool a few years together of Patreon funds.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Let's find out what you really get when you get a Murphy Lab aged Gibson.
Didn't Andertons just make that video?
Probably.
I think he did. But anyway, who knows? The Patreon videos are just, y'all are in the Patreon. Tell us what kind of Patreon funding
back to the sponsorship, Steve.
Those people are also the sponsor.
I know.
This episode is brought to y'all by Chase Bliss Audio. This is the blooper. This is in the trinity of delay machinery,
glitchy noise making,
the blooper,
nonsense
the
pedals,
habit, and the mood.
Yeah.
But this is the blooper. It's the looper of the set.
They just came out with a lossy, and I just saw someone on the internet describe the lossy as a blooper sweetener. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah. My favorite thing is, I think it was Philip, who I do the Sunday morning shows with about once a month, was saying that the blooper is the blooper? No, the Gen Loss is like an accidental blues machine.
Ah, okay.
Because you don't, when you think of Chase Bliss, you don't think of like blues guitar, but he said that the Gen Loss is like perfect for getting that like 1940s,
like lo-fi, Robert Johnson,
exactly,
like needle on wax sort of sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like it's perfect for that, which I'm sure the Lossy is too.
Sure.
The blooper, I can't tell you a lot about it because I don't understand it. Chase
no
Bliss
one understands it.
For pedals,
they're gifts from outer space
that are more creative than you are. Check them out. Chase Bliss Audio. No, just chasebliss.com.
Chase Bliss. They don't do audio anymore. Now it's more visual.
Yeah. This was sent by Matt Carnevale. We just have like a best of the best.
I know.
Going on.
Heavy hitters episode.
This is Matt Carnevale. Here we have a very stunning and rare early 60s Carvin, hand-built in Covina, California. Smooth playing action, very natural sounding instrument, simplicity done right. Original tremolo, all parts appear original. This guitar was kept inside for the last 60 plus years and kept very well. The pickups work. However, the hardware needs cleaning as the bridge pickup cuts in and out. The neck works fine. There aren't any reasons why this guitar shouldn't be played. The frets have plenty of life, fresh setup, new strings, ships fast, OHSC.
So here's a piece of like underappreciated Southern California guitar history. Like this is Carvin before they became the Carvin that you think of them as from the 80s and the 90s.
This is Carvin before they became the Carvin that you think of them as before they became Kiesel.
Right. Well, like, you and I grew up seeing Carvins all over the place because they moved to San Diego before we came of age and were a San Diego brand for a long time. And they made this very specific, like, kind of like mixture of like throwback to the late 70s through 90s sort of vibe of guitars. Like, we're going to sandwich woods. We're going to give it super rounded edges. We've got like these like 60 pole humbuckers that we put in all our guitars. You want to throw Floyd Rose on there and some flamey wood and stuff, we'll do it. But before all that, Carvin was this like Bakersfield country vibe, sort of like folky take on California, Southern California electric guitar construction that were very, very unique. This is a 60s example of that. I kick myself every time I think about it. I ran into a 70s version of this.
Okay.
At Freedom Guitars, when Freedom Guitars was still around. Jason Lee, who actually worked for Carvin, and I think he still works.
He's still at Kiesel.
He's still at Kiesel. He hinted it to me. He's like, you got to go over to Freedom. They've got this early 70s Carvin, and it's got an original Bixby on it. You should get it. And he was like, hey, they've got it listed for $800. I think if you offered $450, they would do $550, and you'd be out the door with it. I should have listened to Jason Lee.
Why didn't you listen to Jason
Because
Lee?
at that point, I didn't have a guitar YouTube channel. And also, like, I didn't have the appreciation for what it was yet. But I remember picking it up and playing it and be like, yeah, this feels really slick. I was a little put off because it had some blemishes in the finish.
What?
Yeah, it had some blemishes in the finish.
Ryan, are you telling me that you tried out a 30-year-old guitar and it had some blemishes?
Well, at that point,
finish?
it was 40 years old. Or was it?
I don't know, 35,
something like that. It had like a beautifully old Bixby on it. It had V style pickups on it.
Oh, wow.
Which is I forget the lineage of these pickups, but they're cool pickups. They sound good. I don't think it had 4 knobs. I think it was a 2-knobber. It was Sunburst.
2-knob job.
It had that headstock and that badge on it. It was a Carvin of Cavina. I should have tried to wheel and deal for it. If I could go back in time, I totally would.
Yeah.
Because it was super, super good feeling. I have no idea what's going on with this trim design here. It looks super unique. We can't see how it actually operates. But what it looks like to me is that it clamps around the strings.
Yeah.
And maybe you can slide it forward and back on the strings, and then it just
I think it's a palm. So I think you just I think you're just playing, and then you kind of would like put your hand on it and push it,
and I think
push the strings forward.
I think with that, if I'm understanding what I'm looking at, it will never loosen the strings. It will only tighten it because it's like pinching the strings to increase tension. It's if that's what I'm seeing, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's an incredibly simple device that probably works just fine in its own way. I'm surprised this thing still has a bridge cover on it. That's something that I would have taken off if this was my guitar, because I like to roll my palm around on the bridge.
Right.
It's just neat to see a piece of history like this. And it's like kind of like an underserved piece of guitar history too, because this brand never really blew up when it was in this era.
Yeah.
It's never really gotten recognition from this era of manufacturing. And I think this era is its coolest era of manufacturing.
Well, Ryan, I would tell you that you could own this for $1,835, but it's sold.
I know, it's sold already.
Sold
and
already.
I like maybe in 15 years, 20 years, whatever, I'd be looking at something like this on this show, and it'll be priced at $5,000. Like, I should have bought that one for $1,750. I should have been on eBay looking for those when you could get them for under $2,000. Yeah. And it's going to be the same story that I've got right now. Like, oh, should have bought it when I probably could have got it for $500.
That buttercream, whatever, vintage white SG, Yamaha SG, whatever, that was up by my place up in Lake Elsinore, got relisted recently at like 1,700.
Wow.
$300 price drop. So from when I first sent it to you. So
send me a link to that again.
Could be your time. I'll find it later.
Do we want to do another thing, or are we going to get into the topic?
We want to do what's new, Ryan. You got anything new? Is that what's new?
This is gonna be new. Look at that right there, guys. The new version of the 5050. It's in a new case. It's got a chromey back. It's got a new circuit board. We've got some issues that were ironed out to be a little bit more modern in there.
Cool.
It sounds the same. I plugged it in the other day and did an A/B against my other ones. Like, it sounds the same. It does the same great thing. These are going to be for sale soon. Steve and I just signed the bottom plates for like 60 of them.
For numbers 111 through 167.
So like 55.
Yeah.
Is
this the third batch?
This is the third batch, because the first batch was orange, then we did a black batch. Now we're doing another orange batch with this art. People in the inner circle have already gotten first dibs on this. So whatever's left is what you guys are going to have access to. I'm sure there's going to be more than a few left. And then after that, you won't be able to buy any more ever again until Leon makes more at his own discretion, which he'll probably do fairly quickly because we're going to move them into production. Yeah. So don't get all excited and think that you're going to be Mr. Scalper and flip these things for $1,000, because we're just going to put them into production.
Also, because no one's going to pay you $1,000 for one of these things. Ryan, I do have a question though. Do we have a price point on these yet?
Leon and I did discuss it, but I can't remember what we landed on. It's not going to be what it used to be. It's going to be a little bit more because of inflation. It's been like 4 or 5 years since we did a run of these, but it's going to be normal. It's going to be reasonable stuff.
Okay.
It's not going to be $800.
No.
The way you thought that you were going to have to pay. I know you were starting to sell stuff so you could have $800 in your pocket to buy one, but it's not going to be $800. I don't know the price off the top of my head.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know if you knew.
Other than that, I think I'm gonna give the goth band that I've been trying out one more shot. We're auditioning a new bassist this Saturday. I'm gonna see how it feels. I'm gonna see how it plays out. If there's not significant new hope, then it's probably gonna be my last practice.
Did you get a bass player for Vulture Shock?
We did.
You did.
We did. We did pick one. Yeah. But we have not had a subsequent practice with said bass player, and also we're going to bring on that guitar player as well.
And since I asked the question, it's not me.
It's not you. Yeah. You have anything new, Steve?
Yeah, I bought a pedal. Do you ever?
Huge surprise.
I know. Do you ever? I also bought started buying some of the stuff I wanted to buy for NAMM.
Okay.
But do you ever?
I do.
You do.
I do.
Do you ever have a brand that you've wanted to buy a pedal from for a very long time, and you just don't do it, and you don't really know why you haven't done it? Honestly, I can tell you why. It's because, and this is going to sound dumb when I say who the brand is, their pedals are kind of intimidating to me, because I feel like maybe I can't harness them well enough, because I'm not hard rock enough. I'm not doomy enough.
Who'd you buy a pedal from, Steve?
They were running a sale that I took advantage of. So this is again why I say,
my seat right
if
now.
you have a brand that you like,
master of suspense.
If you have a brand that you like, get on their mailing list, get on their social media, follow them, because you might get like a 20% off sale. And this is a brand that doesn't do sales. They do like one sale every 5 years. I bought a Fuzzrocious little fella.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Good job. Fuzzrocious is an awesome brand.
And they're awesome brand. And I've just always so I played a little fella, probably whenever the last time they were at NAMM and they had them.
I miss Ryan.
I played one and I was like, this pedal's awesome.
I know my name is Ryan, but Ryan is also the guy behind Fuzzrocious.
And so I played it. I was like, this is awesome. I really need to get one of these, because the little fella has a very wide range. Like it's like a overstortion
All right.
Like it does the full gamut. It does overdrive sounds. It goes all the way into like some fuzz areas. It's super flexible. And I just like never pulled the trigger.
Well, here you are.
I finally pulled the trigger.
You finally did it. Steve finally bought a pedal.
It hasn't shown up yet. Otherwise, I'd be showing it. But
Sure.
I'm really looking forward to that coming in. And I'm really looking forward to playing with that. So, making some big sludgy doomy sounds.
I still have the Moth that I demoed.
Oh yeah, the Moth is cool.
Killer cool pedal.
Yeah,
makes crazy sounds.
But you know what? That's exactly what I mean. It's like, so I was going between the Lil Fella and the Croak. And the Croak is the Lil Fella is like, it's a dirt pedal, so I know I can make it work, and I know it does a lot of things. The Croak is one that was like a super ton of fun to play with, but I'm like, I need to.
When are you going to use it?
Well, it's not even when am I going to use it. It's that I've got the Antiquithan from Catalan right now. I've got the Spellbrook from David Ross, and they both are also in like the noise machine category. I'm like, I need to buy I just need to not buy pedals. But if I'm going to buy a pedal, I'm going to buy one that
Steve, don't say that.
Use.
That'll make me sad if you say that you're not going to buy pedals.
I'm always going to buy pedals.
Why? How come every time you buy a pedal, it's some pedal that I don't have an affiliate link for? Steve, come on, help me out here.
That one I did not buy, but I think I bought all of my my stuff I needed for NAMM off of your Amazon link.
Oh, did you?
I bought a sling bag, or like it's a crossbody sling.
Mm-hmm. I was just joking, by the way, but thank you anyways.
And I bought, what was the other thing I bought? It was like $100. I don't remember, but I bought another thing that was like $100. Oh, I bought a mouse. I need a new mouse.
They sell live animals on Amazon?
Yeah, something like that. No, I needed a new mouse for my desk at home because the scroll wheel on mine, the one that I have, isn't like tracking right. Like when you scroll down, sometimes it scrolls up, and
that's the wrong direction.
Back in the day, I would just take the mouse apart, but these newfangled mice, they don't have screws in the bottom, so you can't take them apart. So I have to buy a new one.
Demand, you're right, your local congressperson, your local one, and demand the right to repair. Make it so everything can be taken apart so that you can repair it. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Good luck.
This episode's also brought to you. Do you have anything else? Nope. Oh, this episode's brought to you by Stringjoy. I'm looking forward to seeing the Stringjoy folks at NAMM.
Oh, yeah.
But let me tell you about these strings. These are the Orbiters, and they're fantastic. And I say this every week because every week it continues to be true. I have them on my Les Paul at home, which I play 2 or 3 times a week, and I put the strings on them. I don't know how long ago, a long time ago.
It's a mystery.
Several months ago. And it still plays great. It still feels great. They're still
slippery,
slippery, sleek strings.
Yeah, they're coated. They're coated with enamel, just like your teeth.
Just like
they're not going to go bad unless you rub candy all over them.
Yep. And I wash my hands before I play, so the stickiness of the candy that I just ate is no longer on my fingers.
My strings actually do go bad faster than yours, and that's why they call me Sugar Fingers. That's my blues name.
That's true. So click the link below so Stringjoy knows that we sent you, and use code HUM at checkout for 10% off.
That's right, Steve. Are you ready to get into the nitty gritty controversial stuff?
Oh my gosh, let's do this. Do you have some comments that you want to start with on this, or how do you want to approach this?
Okay, so I've done 2 paid demos.
Right, you did
paid videos via Temu. Temu paid me money.
Yeah, you did the M-Waves?
Yeah, I did a bunch
pedals.
of M-Wave pedals because I'd been wanting to cover those. And they just so happened to have them. Temu had hit me up, and I was like, well, let's see what they have. Oh, they have the M-Waves. I'll give it a shot. Let's see how this goes. It was a little weird working with Temu because, like, they're not the normal type of company that I work with. They're a weird retailer through an app and stuff like that. So they had certain things that they wanted to happen. They just really all that Temu wants or wanted in the videos was for me to read this line that was honestly not written all that great.
Right.
Like, the grammar was a little bit off, but it's like, tell your audience to download the app and do this thing and put in this code to maybe get to get this amount off or to get 30% off or something like that. And I was like, okay, I can read that. That's fine. And then I'll just do my own thing. I'll do an unboxing. I'll do an afford-to-board video. And then they hit me up again after that. They're like, oh, we'll pay you the same rate. You want to do it again? And here's the budget. You can go shopping with this budget. And I was looking through everything. I was like, there's really not a lot left here. There's a lot of garbage on Temu. And then I finally figured out, like, oh, there's enough guitar parts here that I could build a guitar. And so then I built this guitar.
Yes.
And so not a lot of people noticed when I did the first one with the pedals.
Well, so I will say the title on that first one was like MVAVE.
Right.
Pedals,
it was all about the MVAVE pedals.
Are they worth it or something like that? And this one was titled, Can you build a guitar can you build a guitar with Temu parts?
Right.
So
Temu parts guitar. And I put the Temu logo in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So it caught a lot more attention.
Yeah.
And I was already aware that there were a lot of concerns out there about Temu. And then we got a ton of comments on the video of me making this guitar in that direction. I had looked into those details before, and I had my thoughts on them, and we'll get into all that. But I thought it would be fun because they hit me up again. They want me to make a video for February.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I have no idea what I'll actually do because, like I said a second ago, it's full of trash. There's not a lot of great stuff on there.
Yeah.
There's not really all that much to work with as far as what I do. But I'm debating taking the money and doing something dumb, like halfway, like just to entertain myself. Also, just because it'll pay bills.
When they first came out as a company and they were first like building up, and I don't know if I never downloaded the app. I'm not going to buy anything from them. I don't need to.
No one does.
First of all, I don't think I need to.
No one needs anything from Temu.
But the people that I knew who were promoting it, like people I know personally,
right,
who were, I guess, I don't know if they were trying to get on the radar or what. These are people who are...
Are you talking about fellow guitar creators?
No, I'm talking about like people who are former friends of ours.
Okay.
Who, they don't live here anymore. I'd say not former because they're bad people.
We just haven't seen them in a while?
Just people that, like, I would say have dropped from the friends list to the acquaintances list and maybe
all right.
further.
You'll have to tell me later who you're talking about.
They're social media friends at this point and maybe not real life friends.
Okay.
But the point is they were promoting Temu, and the way that they described it was almost like, and this is the way their early promotional, their user generated content commercials were really all designed around this gamification, this you got to get on there and check what the deals are right now, because the deals right now aren't going to be the deals in an hour. And so
wasn't there another site that was doing that? Like,
yeah, was it Deal Dash or something like that?
I feel like that format comes up every 5 years on the internet. Like, oh, you got to go to this site. Like, you could get a computer for $5. Like that sort of, like, it's been done a bunch of times. And like that whole thing on Temu, every time I go try to find stuff to shop for, it just makes it a mess. I'm sure some people love it, but it's like for someone like me who's looking for specific stuff, it's a very difficult site to shop from.
Yeah,
like, I think it's chaos over there.
I think Deal Dash is kind of was also doing that now. Deal Dash is one of those sites where for every bid you make, you have to pay like 5 cents. So technically you could buy a Nintendo Switch for $10. But because there's like 1,000 people who are all bidding the price up 5 cents at a time, like little by little, like cent by cent. So when you bid 5 cents, you're actually going to pay 10 cents. And then when and so on, because you're paying per bid.
Like, I remember checking it out when that was going on. And by the time that I had found out about it, everyone else had found out about it. And it was like, oh, well, all this stuff is just selling for normal prices because everyone just bids it up to a normal price. So what's even the point?
Yeah. So some of the early criticisms with Temu is they would say like, oh, every hour we're selling whatever, like I think they were Nintendo Switches for like $100. And basically they'd say like, we have 10 of these. And when you have 10 of them, and in theory you have like a millions a million or millions, 1 million or more than 1 million, several millions of people on your site all at once trying to get 10. There's no way for all of those people to get together and say like there was never a product, because you're not going to track down the 10 people who won. Right. So there was a lot of that with like the way that they were advertising early on. But the reality, okay. So I was going to say is what the reality is. I think what they do now a lot is they track like what's popular on Amazon, and that's all they carry. So guitar stuff is never super popular on Amazon.
There's a ton of guitar stuff on Amazon though. Like
maybe not to the amounts to like that they're going to be profitable.
Okay, well, let's hold on a moment.
We're off the rails.
Let's streamline this a little bit, because there's very specific criticism of Temu that came up a lot in the comment section and come up a lot outside of the videos that I made that I might make in the future. I might not work with them again. I might work with them again. I might take that check and make some utter nonsense that happens to have Temu in the title, so I get lots of clicks again. But what are you doing? Stop digging with me.
No, I'm doing something. I'm not going to push the thing.
Okay, all right. So huge concerns that people have.
Yes.
Slavery. Malware. What's the third one?
China.
These are the big concerns that people have.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously, these are legitimate concerns. These are things that, at least the first two are things that, like, if true, should definitely grab everyone's ears and grab everyone's attention. And they should definitely stop in their tracks and be like, well, I think we should look into this. And I've spent the past 2 days trying to look into it, like not full days, but like in the time that I had, I was reading articles.
48 hours. You have not slept.
I was watching videos.
Yeah.
I was trying to get to the bottom of things. And Temu is a trash website. I want to make that very clear. Like, I don't think it's a cool place to shop. I don't think it's a good place to shop, mostly because I don't think there's good stuff there.
You mean good by like a user experience?
The user experience kind of sucks for me anyways.
Right.
The stuff that's on there, like, it was fun to get some affordable pedals. Like, there are some affordable board pedals on there. But like in that first video that I made, a lot of people pointed out, oh, I found this cheaper on AliExpress. And I'm glad people were pointing that out, because they're like, yeah, I hope everyone reads the comments and looks on AliExpress instead. You know,
right.
Go get it cheaper somewhere else. Who cares? There's just a lot of junk on there. It's like your local swap meet where there's just plastic trinkets and like knockoff things and like off-brand things and stuff like that, like Sonic foot washer machines and whatever.
Sure.
You know, it's that sort of stuff. So who even cares? But addressing like the slavery stuff and the malware stuff.
Well, let's talk about why.
Okay.
Because I think
I'll let you guide.
I think it's the lowest hanging fruit. Let's talk about why we both think, and I think this is a point we agree on, why the saying like, oh, they're Chinese, they're a Chinese company. You know, when you buy from them, you're supporting the Chinese government. Like, I think that's the worst of these three arguments.
It's the dumbest take
because
what, like, every time someone makes that comment, like, oh, just stuff from China, I always want to ask, what device did you type this comment on? What device are you holding in your phone? You're holding a device in your hand right now, or you're sitting at a computer, or you're maybe at the public library. Where did that computer come from?
What's your phone, Ryan? You got an Apple phone.
I got an Apple phone.
I got an Apple phone. Apple phones are made in China, as far as I know.
And even if you have some phone that happens to be made somewhere else, I guarantee you a majority of the components inside came from China.
So I
like that. It's the reality of the retail world that we live in. If you're commenting and using these devices and browsing the internet, you are using products that came from China.
Yeah. So I guess
it's a moot point.
You can make the argument that like it's more direct because you're interacting directly with like a Chinese link company versus buying, you know, when you buy an iPhone, you're buying a phone from an American company, Apple, or a global multi-corporate or a multinational corporation, whatever the hell Apple is these days, right?
Right.
And so you're supporting, but Apple presumably pays taxes in the United States, and maybe Temu doesn't, because I don't know how that stuff works. But that's kind of the argument of like, well, you're buying Chinese stuff from a company controlled by Americans. So maybe there's a very small argument there. But I think for the most part, the reality is the vast majority of things that you buy anywhere are manufactured in China.
Or
just
somewhere adjacent.
And it's just the kind of world we live in. So I just want to get that off, because I don't think it's a valid argument. I don't really think that the idea of avoiding China buying these things is useful. I think if you don't think you should buy things from Temu, I would go a step further and say you probably just don't need to buy 90% of the things that you buy.
Right. You really only need bread, cheese, eggs, and milk.
Right. The issue isn't that you're buying guitar parts from Temu, like cheap guitar parts from Temu. The problem is that you're just buying cheap guitar parts in general.
Yeah, you're just buying junk.
So I just want to wipe that out. The second thing of the other two things you mentioned,
let's talk about malware, because the slavery thing is going to be a bigger and more delicate subject.
Yeah.
Obviously. The malware thing, I wasn't able to find a ton of information. What it sounded like to me was that their sister company got caught using malware outside of the US.
It's the parent company. Pinduoduo had a version of their app that had malware into it. Now, where it gets kind of gray is they fired the team that designed that app, that wrote that app. But then supposedly in firing them, what they really did is they fired them from Pinduoduo and hired them at Temu.
And I did see reports that various people have said that they shopped through Temu and then they started getting false charges on their cards and stuff like that. Like, that can happen. Again, Temu is a trash website. I don't care. I don't want to defend them, but let's be rational here. That can happen a lot of different ways. And like, you should absolutely keep an eye on your bank account, especially if you start buying through a retailer or from a source that you've never done anything with before. Use credit cards, use PayPal, use things that will get you your money back as much as you can in this world. Like, that stuff can happen if you go to a new restaurant. But like, if people are saying that they're getting bad charges from Temu, like that could be a legitimate thing. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's just certain sellers on Temu. I don't know. In that whole malware thing, they were suspended from the Google Play Store at one point. I don't know if they're on there now. It wasn't Temu though. It was the other one. Was it the other one? The other one was suspended. I don't know if Temu ever was. That was a part of the story I did not it wasn't really fleshed out well. Here's the thing. Like, if you read the comments on the Temu guitar video, some of them are like so sure of like, well, you should do your research because they definitely are using malware and they are definitely stealing all your information. Yeah. And then you actually try to find the news sources, what that's related to, and it just gets murky really quick. And it just gets into like, well, it was reported to blah, blah, blah. And this person kind of said this and that. And it's like, where's the big story here? Like, it just, it feels like something happened and then everyone, like, there's a ton of people on the internet became absolutely certain that something else happened, or that a much more specific version of that thing is happening. And it just doesn't feel that cut and dry. It doesn't feel like, here is the thing that is absolutely happening the way that these commenters are saying, but something did happen that it sounds like it stopped, or it sounded like, you know, the Google App Store and the Apple App Store were like, oh, we don't allow that. So like they blocked versions of the app before they were able to do that sort of thing. But also, like, here's a whole other side tangent. I've done commercial video as a side hustle, as part of the way of earning my living. I used to do it more before the channel had its legs under its better and stuff like that. I shot this convention like 2-3 years in a row. It was a big data convention.
Right.
Thousands and thousands.
Wait, like a big convention about data or a big data convention?
A big convention about big data.
A big convention about big data.
Yes, yes.
So it was big.
So
it was
like,
a big data convention.
Thousands and thousands of people.
Yes.
Doing these huge conferences and conventions and symposiums and stuff like that, whatever you want to call them. And I'm in there with a camera pointed at the speaker, following them around on a stage. Every single speaker had basically the same thing that they were saying. It was like a 4-day seminar that went on downtown San Diego on the bay. It was very beautiful and the catering was wonderful. But they're all just talking about harvesting all this data all the time. Like all these apps are all harvesting all this data, and they're talking about the commercial value of all this data and this huge big data thing, all these servers and all these data points that they're harvesting from all these people, which is what every app on your phone and every device that you interact with, every television, every smart fridge, every single thing that you interact with is harvesting data points from you. And what I learned from these conferences and conventions is that they don't know what the fuck to do with any of it. They're just harvesting it all and selling like just data points. It's just big blocks of data points to like advertisers. And the advertisers are going crazy, spending millions and millions of dollars on all this data, trying to figure out how to make it work for them. But no one knows how to make it work for them yet. And like if Temu or Amazon or eBay or all of them, I say if, they definitely are harvesting your data. They all are. And they're all trying to sell it.
Right.
They're not trying to steal. Maybe some of them are, but most of these companies are not trying to steal your identity. What they're trying to do is trying to predict if you're going to drive past a Target this week so that they can serve you a coupon for 30% off of toilet paper. And that's the main goal of these advertisers and why they're harvesting all this data. And they have this huge economy of trading it and buying packs of it and reselling it and trying to like squeeze some sort of value out of all this data that they're collecting. And for all we know, like apps like Temu and even Amazon's and so on, they're trying to get most of their profit from just selling this data that they acquire that's just like user blah, 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 -- 8, and you like all these number codes or whatever, did this action, and then 10 seconds later did this action, and then like they're trying to predict human activity.
Sure. There's an angle with all of these, and I know that there are levels of data acquisition. Right. So I will say that
like if someone's trying to hack you, they're trying to hack you.
Right. At least one of the articles that I read indicated that like while, for example, a company like Amazon might say user San Diego -123456789. Maybe that's you. Right. This is their buying habits over the last 60 days, and they sell that information to whoever, right?
Right.
But the Temu version of that might be user R Burke 123456789. Like it might be a little more information. So there are different levels of what that information might be, right?
What people were commenting and what the stories people were like that are kind of murky, that like there was some data analyst that analyzed like one of the apps that was the overseas version of the app. Right. And he said that it was going into people's photos and things like that and sharing GPS information. And like, yeah, that sounds super sketchy, but that's not the version of the app that you got off of the Apple or Google App Store in the States. Like, and hopefully if that stuff is going on, that they're catching it and they're blocking it and saying you can't do that. But it's like the malware side of it seems so murky to me. Like, I don't know what other points we can make about it. But let's move on to slavery.
I think it's more likely that your data was breached by any of the other, dozen big company data breaches in the last decade. Like I know probably
23andMe sold your password.
Like most of my passwords are compromised right now. And as soon as I change them, there's another data breach. So it's like, what's even the point?
Right.
According to Google though, like I had at least my junk password is compromised. And I use that junk password on a lot of sites.
Right.
So, the slavery thing, I think is
It's the most damning. It's the most serious sounding.
It's potentially the most provable. It's potentially also the most widespread.
But let's also say what it is and what it isn't, because multiple commenters, multiple people have messaged us, and people that I've talked to in person have been like, "Oh, Temu has slaves."
Right.
They have child slaves working at Temu, and I think that's what's in a lot of people's heads, and maybe they do, but that's not the news stories that I was able to find. That's not the information I was able to find. What it sounds like is that Temu's just not doing a good job of doing what other companies pretend to do.
Right.
And that job is trying to suss out which of their product suppliers, which of their, because Temu's like Amazon, where it's like individual retailers selling through the site. They're not doing the footwork to figure out if these tens, hundreds of thousands of individual retailers that are selling through them are sourcing their goods from places that are or are not using forced labor.
Right.
And now ask me if I think the majority of sellers on Amazon are doing that. You know, like it's shitty. It's shady. Like, it's unfortunately the world that we live in. If you are buying, if you're buying things that are made in America, there's a decent chance they're being made by prison slave labor.
I don't know if there's a decent chance, but there's
a chance.
Certainly
there's a really good chance that you and I both own things or have bought products that were made by prison slave labor domestically.
Right. Well, so there's probably a few differences there. I understand where you're going. I think maybe the language you're using is a little too strong.
Sure.
As much as
there are differences, but
yeah, I don't know that I would describe the American prison labor system. While I would 100% say it's unjust, I don't think I would call it a slave labor system.
It's it's in our Constitution. It's legal slavery.
No, you still have to pay the people. You just don't have to pay them very much. At least my understanding is they're all paid. They're just not paid very much. They're not paid minimum wage. They're paid like $1. It's akin to slavery. I'm saying the difference is
there's a whole conversation that people are being harvested off the streets by law enforcement to keep the slave population going.
Right. So right. But what's being discussed here in the case of Temu, in the case of some other brands, is in the Xinjiang region of China, or the Xinjiang province. There is a population of people who have basically are primarily Chinese Muslims. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, which I should have learned, but I haven't. It's Uyghurs, I think, is the pronunciation.
You're allowed to mispronounce it because you're half Chinese.
I will probably not pronounce it again, but basically you have a entire ethnic group in China that are considered religious political dissidents, something like that. I am 100% getting details wrong.
Like, we have prison camps, they have re-education camps.
And they call them re-education camps. But the thing is the crime that these people, my understanding, have committed is that they're Muslim.
Right.
So what happens is they put these people into these camps. They call them re-education camps because I guess they're being re-educated to not be religious or something. I have not gotten that far in looking into it. And part of their re-education is they have to work the cotton factories.
Right.
And
the fields or whatever.
This is where it gets very complicated from what I've read, is that the Xinjiang province makes the majority of the cotton in China,
right? Or
at least the majority of the cotton that gets used it's a big textile fabric province. Like, that's what they do. And so we passed a law in the United States, I think 3 or 4 years ago, that basically says that when you buy clothing from China, you have to be able to trace that none of it came from this province. So this goes back to what you're saying is other companies, at least, and this is the way it was written in the article that I read, is that Temu does not even present a facade, was the word that was used, of an attempt to prove that they are not using clothing that
They're
is
just
tied
not even
to the
trying.
clothes. They're just not trying.
Right.
Whereas, like you said, other companies, like if you're buying clothing from AliExpress, they're at least pretending it's not from there. Amazon, who knows? Like, I'm not saying Amazon does or doesn't.
Once
right?
you're getting something from Amazon, it is coming through an outside seller who had a source that Amazon doesn't know about, who had a source that Amazon doesn't know about, who had a source, like it all, like it, like I worked in the apparel industry for about 4 years. I was seeing where things were coming from. I was seeing the prices that embroidered sweaters, printed shirts, manufactured pieces of apparel. I was seeing what we were paying.
Right.
And a shirt, this was in 2004 through 2008.
Sure.
A t-shirt that you buy from any store, whether it's a high fashion brand or whether it's the bottom barrel at Walmart or whatever.
Just say the words Tri-Blend and Gildan.
But anyways, the company that you think you're buying from, that prints the brand that you think that you're buying from,
right?
They all buy from the same places.
Yeah.
All of the brands buy from the same manufacturers. Like it's like they buy different qualities of shirt that cost different things. But a high quality shirt, if you buy it in enough bulk, it's under $1, or at least it was. It's under $1 per unit. Mm-hmm. And then you go to the store and you pay in between $12, maybe up to $40, $50, $60, depending on what's printed on it, depending on what's embroidered into it, what brand is associated with it. And I guarantee, and the most of what we were buying back then was coming from Mexico. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm not super familiar with Mexico's agriculture, but I don't think of them as a source of cotton. I never hear about Mexico's cotton fields. So they were getting cotton from somewhere else. And that cotton was being woven into yardage and fabric in one location. But then the raw materials were coming from a farm, who knows how many thousands of miles away from there. And it's all just these steps and steps and steps.
Bad news, Ryan.
What?
Mexican cotton is the most widely planted species of cotton in the world.
Well, I just learned something. But still, like,
Mexicans have been cultivating cotton since 3500 BC.
I should have Googled. But still, like, you get the point that I'm getting at here.
Mexico is ranked in the top 15 countries globally for cotton production.
We pay tens, dozens, hundreds of dollars for products here in the state, in the Western world, that was manufactured for pennies.
Right.
And everyone along the path gets their cut.
Yeah. There's always an understanding in these manufacturing chains. And when for every item, right? Like,
and if let me finish. And
sure.
When you get to the very beginning, where it started, the profits are so slim.
Yeah.
The money is so slim that you have to be aware. You have to be aware that either it's an industry that's being subsidized mm-hmm. by the government overseeing where it's coming from. Like a lot of our farming is subsidized. Mm-hmm. To maintain prices, to maintain quality of life for the people involved. Unless it's being subsidized, the quality of life is going to be really, really low if you're buying something that's affordable at all.
Right.
Like every single one of us is contributing to misery in the world through consumerism. Like it's the reality of it. Yeah. All right, you make points now.
So there was a thing. One of the comments was like, "This is a child labor guitar." So okay, so the first point with this slaver thing, it's a bullshit situation. It sucks, but it seems like it's very limited to textiles. From what I've been able to tell, it's pretty much limited to like the clothing industry.
Well, the clothing industry historically has
right, but
been
I'm saying in this
horrific.
in this specific case of like Chinese
Sure.
slave labor. Like this is limited to the textile industry, which doesn't excuse it. If Temu's dealing in that, it seems at least at this point not provable.
Well, I want to be very clear that I do not want to sound like I'm excusing any of this. I want to say that I'm pointing out the reality of what it is.
And then, so the thing that there's two things. One, so I don't think the guitar was made, like the guitar parts are being made by slaves. As far as child labor goes, I mean, that's a whole other topic that I can't say that China is or isn't using child labor. What I will say is that there are significant efforts in the United States to lower the working the minimum working age,
and also to decrease safety standards.
There are meat packing plants in the United States that have taken on over, I think, $500,000 in fines in 2023, and the companies just pay them,
right? Because
they don't care.
Because it's cheaper to keep the child.
Yeah, and workers. For that injury thing, that's how they found out, because they have kids. I say kids, they have teenagers. So our current labor laws basically say that if you are under the age of 18, you can only work until like 9 o'clock at night or something.
Yeah, it's like limited hours, and like I think you have to have sign off from a guardian, like in between to do anything in between 15 and 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So these companies are hiring teenagers and younger. I think the youngest they found was a 12-year-old who was working a graveyard shift in a meat packing plant, where because it's off hours, so their job is to clean.
Right. And
the way that they found out about this is there were multiple kids who like injured themselves on the saws. So this is some like 1920s stuff.
But this is that's
kids
a world
getting their arms cut off in the loom.
There are politicians who are pushing for this to get back to this in our country. Yeah. There are politicians trying to push policy through to get back to children losing limbs in meat packing factories. Yeah. Like we might as well put it. They probably want to put them back in the coal mines and stuff. Like it's
one of the things that gets thrown.
It is a global evil. It's not. It's not outside. It's not just outside the U.S. It's here. It's here.
One of the things, and I kind of want to. Do you have anything else to say?
Well, we do have to put a bow on it at some point.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to put a bow on it right now.
Okay, you put a bow. I'll put a bow.
The first thing I'll say is one of the things that gets thrown out a lot, and it's kind of I feel like it's so trite to become meaningless. Is there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Like whether you're buying from a mom and pop, your local mom and pop, or you're buying from Amazon, it doesn't matter. And I think that's where that argument is, because a lot of times a mom and pop is buying and selling trinkets that they bought on AliExpress, and now they're going to sell it for $3 and they bought it for $1, and it all ties back. But I think that's where some of this comes in, is it's like, we're kind of all complicit in it, but we're also currently all living in a, if they want to call it post or late stage capitalism or whatever, that's where we live. And so we do the best that we can. I would say what I try to do is to do the best that we can for me and my family within reason, to participate in a local capitalist society while doing some, level of minimum, hopefully global damage. And there's a balance in that, and I don't know that anybody really has one. Every single person I know who said, "Oh, there's no ethical consumption," is posting from a phone or posting from a computer. They're buying internet from.
They're wearing clothes.
They're wearing clothes that they did not make themselves.
Right? Do you know anyone who owns a loom? I know a couple of you. Probably
I know at least one person.
But do you know anyone who is like mass producing anything with those looms?
Yeah. So I all that to say is my bow is that I don't know what the answer is. And then I'll let you say your thing. And then I have one final thought, I think.
Okay. We got multiple bows here. Yeah, I agree with what Steve said. from what I've seen and what I've read, Temu just seems like a hyper exaggerated version of what we all already do. We're all on Amazon. We're all on eBay. We're all on reverb.com. We're all buying things that were either made or made with components that were made elsewhere in questionable conditions. Like if you bought an Apple product, if you bought a Behringer product, like there's articles on the books telling you that people commit suicide at those facilities and that people are not having a great time manufacturing the trinkets that we buy. This is about, Temu is full of trinkets, most of which are worthless. And I will say that something I really like about working in as a guitar product demo channel guy is that in a lot of ways, none of this matters. No one needs a pedal.
Mm-hmm.
No one needs a guitar. No one needs an amplifier. You can make the argument that professional musicians need their equipment. Yes, they do. The vast majority of the industry is propped up by people who don't need anything. They're trinkets. They're amusements for us. Another fuzz pedal is an amusement for us. No one's going to die if they don't have a fuzz pedal. But on the other side of it, are we contributing to putting more misery in the world by buying these cheap trinkets? And people will be like, oh, you do afford a board. I do afford a board. Yes, I do. And one of my goals of afford a board is to keep people from buying useless shit. Like when I did the afford a board video with Josh Scott,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, oh, wow, these actually sound really great. And then I was like, yeah, but you should see the stack of totes of stuff I had to get through to find the 8 pedals that sound really great. Because there's a lot of stuff that people just shouldn't buy. And that's kind of a bigger purpose of the Afford-A-Board, is showing the stuff that's like, that didn't sound good. Oh, that's just kind of like another muff. Like you could get any muff, you know, like
I think
there's a lot of stuff that you just shouldn't buy.
I think I'm looking at 5 small totes.
I've got a stack of totes this high.
Each one of those totes probably has, I don't know, 20, 25 pedals in it of things that aren't on the Afford-A-Board.
And every now and then we find something that's like, that's a solid buy from the Afford-A-Board. But most of it is like, I hope that you didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I hope that I helped keep people from buying this, you know, this rebranded thing that's just another mystery overdrive that kind of sounds okay, but wouldn't you rather have something that sounds more special to you, or something that's made by someone that you can talk to on Instagram or something like that? Someone that's got some personality behind it. None of this stuff needs to be justified. We're all existing in this world where this is the way things are. If this was a just world, there'd be more guillotines. That's my stance. If this was a just world, we wouldn't be looking at each other like, how dare you buy that? We should be looking up at the hill like, that guy over there, he owns the Misery Factory.
Yeah.
We should bring him down to the town square tonight. Let's go get him, because he's putting misery into the world. We should be looking up the ladder to figure out where the stuff is coming from, where the misery is coming from.
Right. And I suppose, and this is, I want to make sure you completed your thought.
That was a complete thought. I don't know.
One thing we talked about, you and I, before, and I think you've maybe mentioned once, and I did watch the guitar video specifically. Like you said, you do the little Temu spiel at the beginning, and then you do like 35 straight minutes where you basically, I think, only mention them 1 or 2 more times. And then you mention it at the very end.
If I mention them, I'm like, there really wasn't a lot of selection to pick from on Temu.
Yeah. and I think to that, one of the things that you've said is, well, I mentioned them once. The video just is me having fun building guitars. It's really a video about building guitars. It's not a video about Temu, and they paid you for it. And so there is,
as far as I'm concerned, I'm stealing from Temu, because I don't think I'm giving them a return on what they're paying me.
Right. I think that some of the viewers,
I'm showing the stuff that I got from Temu sucks.
I think some of the viewers that leave comments are in good faith trying to communicate their discomfort with you working with Temu.
And I have no problem with that. I haven't deleted any comments from any of those people. I make more. leave it be as educational as you want in the comment section. Like rant, go for it. Just like lay it all out there. That's fine.
And to that, I think that when people watch the videos and they go in the comment section and they see all of these, maybe that will raise some red flags.
And I'm not just saying that about Temu. I let people trash
for every brand,
for any brand that I work with. If like there's brands that I love, like we love Chase Bliss. We were talking about Fuzzrocious. I love Fuzzrocious. If someone went on one of my old Fuzzrocious videos and started tearing apart Fuzzrocious and making all these accusations, I'd leave it up.
Right.
Let people see it. If Ryan wants to come in and defend himself, he can. Like I don't take that stuff down.
Yeah. I'll just say that I think the Temu videos are on the darker side of the gray space of reviewing things. And I think the way that you're handling it is about as neutral as it actually can be, because you're not like buying, like if you were to, we talked about this earlier, like if you were to build a guitar from all parts that you bought from WD Music or from All Parts or from Warmoth or whatever, right? One of these companies that really specializes it, like you'd probably be like, oh, well, I partner with Seymour Duncan to build this guitar. Check out these cool pickups and whatever. But in the Temu video, it's like, I wanted a single coil sound in addition to this humbucker sound. So I ordered these, and it's very neutral tone.
Well, there was literally 2 bodies on Temu that I could buy.
Mm-hmm.
One of them they wouldn't let me buy. Probably it was too expensive, or the profit margin was too rough for them. So I really only had one body I could choose from. There was only a couple necks on there. I went with the one that was the weirdest looking. Mm-hmm. I bought a bridge. It wasn't the only bridge, but they all were about the same price, and the bridge sucks.
Yeah.
The pickups are actually fine. Like the neck pickup, that single coil actually sounds fine. The pick guard did not fit and needed to be modified. Right. Like there were all these little issues I ran into. It was not a glowing review. It wasn't like, here's this thing I spec'd out and I spent all this time figuring out exactly what I wanted and then I got it. No, it's like I had to glue down a fret. Like
yeah.
And like so here's my actual, I hope you have closing thoughts, because this is my closing thought.
That was my closing thought.
I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do another video for Temu. I don't need to. Like financially, I'm not in a place where I need to. It's not like I'm not going to get those bills paid if I don't get that check. Mm-hmm. But there's something very entertaining to me. There's the troll gland in my brain. If that's where it lives, it might be in my butt. The troll gland in my butt, it inflames and engorges when I think about what nonsense I could get up to with them paying me to make that nonsense. Like I could get the dumbest stuff on there and do dumb things and show like, this is the trash that you find on here, and get paid to do it. Like there's something about that is enticing to me and entertaining to me. Mm-hmm. And you either understand that or you don't. I hope you do understand it and you can see where I'm coming from and why that might light up parts of my brain and excite me. But I don't need the money. It's not a need thing. I can pass it up. I can decide to not work with Temu, and that week I'll just work with someone else, because I'm typically booked out about a month or so.
Okay, I have a question.
And I want to know, what do people think? Should I try to get that money and get weird with it? Should I get the money and be weird with it? Or should I walk away?
I have the question.
Ask the question,
I have a question. I could make that as a YouTube poll. We got like 2,000.
Don't do a poll.
2,000 responses on our last poll.
I know. You could do it, but I'm not going to make a decision based on it.
Okay.
I will make a decision based more on well thought out comments.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Here's a question, an hour 20 into the episode.
I know.
Here's a question I have. Is your Temu link an affiliate? Is your code, is it an affiliate code?
No.
It is not an affiliate code.
No.
Regardless of that. Because even if Sweetwater, okay, here's my final statement on this.
Okay.
We make it to video for Temu. We make a video for Chase Bliss. When we say Chase Bliss sponsors the show, if you go to chasebliss.com and you buy a pedal and you say, well, what we want you to do is, hey, I bought this pedal because you guys sponsor 60 Cycle Hum. We get no money from Chase Bliss. We just want you to let them know that you heard about them from our show, or that we were the ones that pushed you over the edge. When you go to Stringjoy, we want you to click the link, not because we get, and I'm not saying this because they're sponsors, not because we get a cut, but because this is a company we believe in, you know.
But they also do, they send us money, and Steve and I use that money to pay bills.
You know, a lot of the pedals back here, Chase Bliss, or not, I already said Chase, JHS, Cattle and Bread. A lot of these Fenders, you buy a Fender guitar from the Fender website, let them know that you liked Ryan's review.
They do actually have an affiliate program. I'm not on it. I've debated whether I should look into that.
All of that to say is there are a lot of brands that we stand behind. I don't give a fuck if you ever buy anything from Temu.
I honestly don't. Like,
I'm done. That's the end.
No,
all right, let's do the last half.
I hope you guys don't buy anything from Temu. Like, literally, I want to have fun making nonsense content and getting paid for it and laughing all the way to the bank. Like, I can't believe they paid me to make this shitty content about their shitty products that they sell. Like, that's where my heart is with Temu. All right, I'm going to be right back. I have to piss, Steve.
Oh, okay. Well,
you warm it up. Like, you read the thing.
Let's see if there's a thing to read here. This is from Matthew Good, but this base is Matthew Bad. Sold. I don't know how. Unusual. Handmade. Right-handed. How is this right-handed? I guess it is right-handed. Fretless bass guitar, Wilkinson. I actually looked at the pictures because the text was all the way at the end. Very unusual custom body with hand carved detail. It's a lover or a hater. Upside down headstock. Body has been converted to right hand. Mech, I think that was supposed to be neck, has been, quote, defretted. All the pickups hardware tuners are Wilkinson. Jack has been rerouted to the back to suit right-handed players. Unsure what else to say about it other than it's actually really nice quality. It plays and sounds great. Just whether the look is for you. Might suit industrial math rock noise band. If this is for an industrial math rock noise band, this was bought for 99 pounds in Kettering, England. Do you think Joe Branton owns this bass now? Did he see this ad?
He should.
Did he see this ad and see that it was for a math rock band? What is math about this? Is it the fact that the carving of the hand is like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, that's math? I do not understand this at all.
This thing's a hot pile of nonsense. You know why it's a right-handed guitar?
Because the
hand that's carved into it is the right hand.
No, it's not. It's a left hand. Wait.
Dude.
No, you're right.
That's the right hand.
The right hand.
And it's making the Spider-Man hand for some reason.
It's like the Rock. It's like trying to do the Rock. I think in the UK they stick.
That's I Love You.
Maybe that's why this guitar is a lover or a hater.
This is my mom taught me when I was a kid that this means I love you.
That's American sign language.
But this meant Satan.
That means goat.
Because it was I love you. That was
oh my gosh, I've never heard that. But also this just means go horns. Or is this go
horns?
Go horns.
And then I like
look because Ryan, you're okay, Texas football.
But that's Spider-Man.
This is horn. No,
that's
horns.
Spider-Man.
That's Spider-Man.
That's Spider-Man. This is a Spider-Man bass. It's a right-handed Spider-Man bass. So I grew up in Christian circles. I'm still a Christian. I played in church and stuff like that. I only recently stopped. But the teens in the 90s, the things that they would say, because they all wanted to do what they saw on MTV and stuff like that. Like, oh, the rock and roll horns and stuff. Like, oh no, that's rock and roll. If you do that, that's devil worship. Like that was the distinction amongst my group of teens.
This is the Coyote.
I have no idea.
This is like Wolf Pack.
It's all nonsense. None of it means anything. None of it matters at all.
In Texas collegiate football, there's like, I think 4 hand signals. So there's like the horns. I forget who the wolf pack is, but there's like a wolf pack. There's a school that's the frogs. I think what school is the frogs? Someone will know. Is it Texas A&M is someone else. So they do like this is a frog. I don't know. Texans, tell me why this is the
Go Frogs.
Tell them why this is like the gig'em. They call it gig'em.
It's a thumbs up.
And then Baylor is the Bears, so they go, rawr. We're the Baylor Bears.
This is my favorite one. Yeah. Lizards. Cool. If you do it just right. There's a tongue in there.
That's weird.
You never did that?
No.
You ever do this, Steve?
I did that. I did do that like 4 times a day. Okay.
What school is this, Steve?
That is the New Jersey South School of Magic.
This guy wants 99 pounds for this. That's a great price. I said, get it.
99 pounds.
Why not?
If you bought this and harvested all the Wilkinson hardware off of it and put on something else, it's probably worth it.
It's got Spider-Man hand carved into it. It should have been painted Spider-Man themed somehow. I have to assume that was the plan at some point.
I don't think this was ever supposed to be Spider-Man.
This is totally Spider-Man. It looked
dumb.
All the wood parts look so rough. Even the neck. Like what did they do to make the headstock and the neck look so rough?
They painted it badly.
They painted it really, really bad. But it's 99 pounds, man. Go get it. It's got Spider-Man's hand on it.
All right, Ryan.
This base is a menace.
I got one more joke.
Give me your joke, Steve.
Is this base made out of like lead? Like, why is it so heavy? 99 pounds?
Oh my gosh, shut up.
All right. AVC. This is a long episode. I wanted to do a Type 45 tonight.
We've been doing longer episodes. We must miss each other because we're talking more and more.
What's your adventures club for this one? You got
I really liked looking at that Carvin.
I like the Carvin too.
I think that's because it's a find. Like, how often do you get to see that? You know?
Yeah.
Like most of those old Carvins I've only seen like scans of old catalogs.
Yeah.
Are
we down for old Carvin?
We're down for old Carvin.
Congrats, Matt Carnevale. You are this week's winner.
Congratulations. Tell me about the song, Steve.
This song was sent by Gerhard. He sent it how it's pronunciation. He says pronounced it like Gary Hard without the Y. So that's Gerhard. Here's one more MP3 with plenty of intertwining guitar tracks, including acoustic. Other than the acoustic, all guitars are recorded with pedals direct into DAW, no emulators or IR. Well, I have nothing against those tools. Thanks for listening. Love your show. Gerhard Vogel from Minneapolis downloading the song. Here we go. Hopefully it plays. I never checked my connection.
I think could never be your perfect dream. I don't wanna be that guy in town. No, I don't wanna be the one you need. I could never stand to settle down, and I will always wonder how you feel. If this thing gets loud, I will break the laws of attraction. If you really care, if you really care. If you think it's love, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be
Solid power pop track
Yeah.
there. That was great.
That's fun. I really liked it.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Stay grounded.